So I'm on top of the excavator here, actually just standing on a ladder. And you can see we've taken off a pile of Bondo and paint. I put paint stripper up here, and I've been sitting here with a hammer. Chiseling away at all of this. See that? I hate doing this to a brand new excavator, but geez, I had no idea there was Bondo the whole way over this thing. And then when they built this, they Bondoed it first, and then they put all the glass in. Which now means to get rid of the Bondo, because, you know, the Bondo is going to separate from the metal and the, you know, the caulking or whatever they used. And the windows are going to fall out. Oh, man, I'll tell you, I can't win with this thing. You know, I thought this was a pretty good machine to start with. But the more I look, there's like, ooh. And, you know, there was rust. See, that's all rust right there forming underneath the Bondo. So it's probably a good thing I got this all off of here. I am going to paint this. We're expecting rain tonight, and I might have to move this machine down to the back barn. Just for the simple fact that I don't really want to strip all the paint off of the yellow. The yellow seems to be decent, but I knew from the start the black was bad. I had no idea there was so much Bondo, but you can see all the Bondo in there, that little white line and white layer. That's all Bondo. This in the middle isn't so bad, but the black paint was awful. I just wanted to kind of get rid of it. So there's a chance I may work on the undercarriage as well and the blade and just strip all of that paint off. I think the cheap Rust-Oleum from the hardware store is better than this stuff. So it is what it is. I guess you get what you pay for. But to me, this machine is leaps and bounds better than a shovel. So I guess we're still ahead. This is a very expensive shovel though. So I guess it is what it is, right? There's the pile of Bondo. In comparison to a size 11 foot. So, yeah, that's quite a bit. I wanted to do a little update on the excavator here. So I have, the Bondo went way further than I thought, and it's actually underneath this big decal. Those Caterpillar decals, I actually had to buy them on eBay, and they came from Queensland, Australia, because Caterpillar sort of has some sort of thing that you can't sell stickers or whatever, or you have to go to the dealership. I'm sure there's something, but I see why they put the Bondo on. All this here, these are all little tack welds. That's how they put the whole cab together. It goes up there, and then up here, the whole way, and then it goes over to here. Whoa, that looks real bad. And the whole way to the top. And down both sides. So she's I understand why they put Bondo on here. I get it now. You know, same thing here. And then I'm going to chisel all that off. I've pretty much done the majority of that over there. And paint stripper does strip off Bondo slowly. It takes a little bit longer. So, but you can see there's what the front looks like. Again, this is all going to get, all the black here is going to get repainted. I'm just going to use a brush. I might prime it just because it's rusting. I wanted to also note, in case you guys were wondering what I was using here, this is called an air scraper. This was one of those tools I was like, oh, you know, that sounds neat. I might use it once and probably never use it again. But this thing, I'm not going to lie, it is incredible. Being able to dig in here, you know, put the tip in there and dig in that. And you do have to sharpen the end of it every once in a while. But this was a very worthwhile tool. I think it was like, I don't know, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, something like that, 10 bucks. I'm not real sure. But it works good. I bought this from Harbor Freight, and it definitely does work and has made this job leaps and bounds easier. So there's the other side there. That looks great. And then the Bondo also continued down into here. And I'm probably going to remove that piece here and paint underneath it and paint that. The black here along this edge and the counterweight seems to be fine on this thing. But you can see there, you know, all of the tack welds all the way down and then all the way up, and even over to here. And this machine was, or the cab on this thing was definitely a afterthought. I was right in the initial video that I made on this thing, was definitely an afterthought. So maybe Typhoon will see this video and they will not put any more Bondo on the cab machines, and even the regular machines that are just open station. You know, hopefully there's no Bondo or anything there. But I knew buying this thing I would have to kind of do a little bit of work here and there. It's just kind of, I guess it's par for the course, and that's just, I guess that's just the way things are. You know, I knew I'd have to change the oils and stuff. I was hoping it was going to come with a hydraulic filter, but it didn't. I had no idea there was so much Bondo on this thing. And I'm never going to get it all off. I'll try to get the majority of it, and then we're going to put some Rust-Oleum on there as well. I think I mentioned that already, but I put some paint stripper on the blade as well. We are going to get rid of the paint on that, and I'm going to paint that black Rust-Oleum. Same thing with the... Yeah, just look how bad it looks now. This was all peeling, and you know, it just doesn't look good for a machine with 20 hours on it. But we're getting there. I also wanted to note here, these big kind of craters and stuff in here for the camera doesn't do this justice. This is like probably a good maybe 1/4 of an inch deep. Maybe 3/16, something like that. But I have some black caulking that I'm going to caulk this with and kind of fill in this area, fill in this stuff, and use the caulking similar to Bondo and just kind of smooth this out the best I can. It's not going to look perfect. You know, the Bondo obviously looked better, but the caulking is not going to fall off. It's going to flex instead of crack. And that cracking, this whole thing, man, I'd be using it and there'd be pieces of Bondo falling off of it as I'm using it, you know, wherever you track it and whatnot. So I do plan on caulking that, and then I'm just going to paint right over it. I just got finished painting the Excavator. This is just Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer Brown. So I figured I'd turn on the camera here and show you guys. So I painted the undercarriage, the blade, you know, the sides of the tracks here. This was all basically peeling paint, and you know, I did the back of the cab. Have not done the door, and I do suspect there is Bondo on there, but that is not falling off yet. So I'm kind of wanting to just leave that there because it's really okay for right now, I guess. But you can see all the rust. I washed this machine, and all the whole top of the cab was all rusting, and that's all rust from the top of the cab now on the glass. So, but I painted the side here, and I painted here as well, and this side all the way up top. I had to seal. There's a line right there, you can see, and I had to seal that where it goes into the cab. And then there's also another one for a rotating beacon on this thing as well. So that's all done. And then I did in here as well. That's painted. This was fine. It looked okay, and that was rusting as well. So I painted that. And then this side got painted as well, which looks pretty good. There was another rust spot on the boom starting. You could just see it just right in the paint where it's all flaking. I did the front here and on top. Hopefully you guys can see that. So the brown, believe it or not, actually looks relatively okay on this thing. I mean, it's not perfect, but I think it looks better than the rusting paint, or the rust and the Bondo falling off. So hopefully either probably tomorrow actually, I will end up painting this black, but hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see this. Yeah, there you go. So this is what all of the seams look like on this machine, and I'm going to caulk all of that instead of use Bondo, because they Bondoed this entire, basically pretty much, I'd say a good 75% of the cab on this thing that's not glass all got Bondoed. So I got that off, and you can see this here, you know, that looks atrocious. That looks really bad. Not that it really matters. I mean, these machines get basically beat and abused, but you know, this is my first new machine and I'm trying to take care of it. You know, it has probably a $5,000 engine in this thing, that little Kubota 722, brand new. And you know, I mean, it's worth me doing this, is what I'm trying to get at. But I don't think the yellow has any Bondo on it. It is not peeling or falling off like the black was. And I recovered my Harbor Freight creeper and the little stool over there. And having those two things reupholstered, I use this on both of these on this painting project, and it is leaps and bounds easier when you have something like that. But there's the rusty metal primer from Rust-Oleum, and boy, that stuff has gone up a lot. I remember whenever I used to pay $34.99 for a gallon of that stuff, and I thought that was great. It's up to $62 now, so you know, everything keeps going up. So I'm going to keep put money and time into this thing versus try to buy something else. At least that's my plan. You know, I painted my other excavator, which I sold, my Bobcat 320. I repainted that, and here I am. I had to Bondo that one because it had holes in it, so I put Bondo in it and then painted it. And this one, I'm taking the Bondo off of it and painting it. So I guess it is what it is. But you know, I go back and forth whether I'm actually truly happy with this thing. You know, for what it is and how much I paid for it, I should be pretty happy. But I think it still beats a shovel. You know, I have a couple shovels sitting in here, and it beats a shovel any day, every day of the week. I finished painting the Chinese mini excavator. Here's what it looks like. The cab is definitely better. I did caulk all the seams. You can still kind of see them. The paint's kind of rough, but you know, these things get used and abused. You know, they live a hard life, but you can see I've used it a bit, and it looks pretty good. I'm pleased with that. That is only one coat of black Rust-Oleum paint. I did not paint the door, but I painted the front and the roof there, so it looks good. I'm relatively happy. At some point I will put another coat on, but you can see, hopefully you can see all the brush marks in there. That's what the whole thing kind of looks like. So I may end up sanding that a little bit, and I really don't want to spray this thing, but it may come down to that. But track frame looks good. Oh, and then one other addition back here. I'm going to put a tie down on the back of this thing. Actually, I might put 3 of them. One on the corner, one there, one here, and then one there. So I have a bunch of different ways to tie this thing down. When I put this on my trailer and I swing the boom around, you know, blades up front, there's nothing really to tie to back here. Some people might go around those drive motors. I don't really want to do that in case we were to snag one of those hydraulic lines. This is kind of a area of concern for me, just because, you know, you blow one of those off and it'll probably drain the whole system of the whole tank of hydraulic fluid, and then you also have to get a new line, of course. But all in all, I'm okay with it. It sure beats a shovel, and it has cab heat and air. I mean, what more can you ask? So hope everyone enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.